Get in, and then you wanna get out. When you get the money to buy yourself a castle, how will you wear your leisure? Your zipper back and front.
Welcome to Yellow Brick Road. I'm Jordan. This is James. This is Ralph, and that's Dan. And also, that's our TV. It's in the camera shot. But fuck you if you complain. And today we're going to be talking about Michael Cohen. He's on the stand. The pressure cooker. What other word should I throw out there?
What a jerk.
But first, please consider donating to Devon's Journey to Recovery. The link is in the description box, and the website is in the very intro of this video, and our past videos. So at least click on the link, check it out, read the story. If you feel compelled, please donate. Any amount will help. Okay. Anyone? You watched it?
Yeah.
The Michael Cohen thing.
Yeah,
Dan, did you?
I caught bits and pieces of it.
I watched, I believe, like the beginning half of it until they went to recess. And it seemed like a gossip show to me. Like a TV drama happening.
We're going to do this just to say we did something.
A lot of speculation, a lot of, what do they call him, racist? Michael Cohen said he's racist comments.
Yeah, he's a racist con man, and he says worse things behind closed doors is what he said.
Yeah. So, basically, if you're a Democrat, you believe everything he said, and if you're a Republican, it's all a smear job because they're afraid of the Trump train. They're afraid of MAGA. But for a little context, we're going to play this clip from MSNBC. All right. It's Ari Melber, extraordinary testimony, damning series of allegations. Here we go.
But it goes to why it is not enough to attack Michael Cohen's credibility or history of lying, because this is all about material that other people are involved in with evidence.
So it is an elections crime, but it's not necessarily a high crime and misdemeanor, not necessarily the bar for impeachment.
So here I agree with Ari, and here's what I think is now most problematic for the president with respect to the hush money payments. We now know that the crime of trying to suppress this kind of evidence, to hide it from the American people during the election, continued. So he successfully tamped it down. Then it continued through the inaugural period. It continued after he took office. And now we have Michael Cohen saying that that conspiracy, which is an ongoing offense, it's not like a robbery or an assault where it's one and done. We now have a conspiracy, an ongoing crime that moves right into the White House when the president is saying, as he's, showing off the paintings in the Oval Office to Michael Cohen, don't worry. The reimbursement for your hush money payments, it's coming. Now we have crime.
So, to add a little context, what happened was apparently Trump had sex with a ex-porn star. Maybe she's a current porn star, I don't know. Stormy Daniels. And apparently he used campaign money to pay her off to keep her quiet. I believe that's the story. So, hearing that makes me immediately think soap opera, drama type stuff, rather than serious politics. Because we did a video, the Abby Martin video, where it talks about, civilians killed in the Middle East. Him claiming to bring troop numbers down in Syria when really he put them up in the first place. Yeah. I believe he inflated it to 2,000 soldiers, and then he's claiming, oh, well, I'm going to pull 2,000 soldiers out of Syria. I'm a good guy.
What'd you do?
I'm anti-war, see?
Yeah.
Then there's the whole Yemen debacle. Those don't get reported. This does. Hush money for a ex-porn star.
Sleeping with an ex-porn star. This is where we are as a nation.
It's like, we got him now. So, hey, guys, there's plenty more other routes you could go after, but you won't, because more people that you're invested in are going to go down, too.
That's the thing. If they prosecuted war crimes on Trump,
Yeah.
it would be a domino effect that would affect all the past presidents.
It'd be everything.
Even if they don't, like, if you look at a guy like Jimmy Carter, he might not have known, like, what the CIA was doing overseas. But he will be liable for the crimes because he's the commander-in-chief.
It's like, hey, fucker, did you know what was happening? Oh, I didn't know. Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
Get out.
Yeah.
How dare you?
You got a clean house.
Or, like Matt, he's like, all right, time to be president. Just picks up like a children's book. CIA says, okay, CIA, you guys ready? Let's go into these countries and create havoc.
The CIA's plotting in the shadows.
Yeah, and the military too.
100% they are.
What's going on, guys? Do you know?
I think part of it's because they want to be self-funded, or they have to be self-funded for their crazy, whatever, expeditions. They have to fund themselves, so they get into crazy things like drugs and arms dealing and all that shit, and toppling governments, because it makes them money. They can fund themselves for the next thing that they're going to do.
Well, it's funny because if you connect everything, right, including the prison-industrial complex, war on drugs, the military-industrial complex, and how that ties into regime change and shit, how arms deals, where they're going, where are those weapons going? How come there's a crate of weapons just suddenly over here?
Yeah.
How come these terrorists have what's that? U.S. military? What?
Yeah.
What's a brand that creates weapons and jets and shit?
Raytheon. Fuck, I can't remember all these names.
Whatever. They have pin numbers too on them.
Yeah.
Let's follow that. You know.
Well, Smith and Wesson, I think they still make guns if they're.
Well,
here's
those
something
would
funny.
probably be like a name brand of like a mom and pop gun shop if there was such a thing. But then there's the bigger guys.
Companies,
There's Raytheon.
the
What's that-
mass
that
production.
Yeah. What's that company that Jimmy Dore said specifically?
I don't remember.
Contracting and
Oh, like Blackwater, like that,
something like that.
for like the guys who send out mercenaries and shit like that. That's yeah, that's Blackwater. Renamed themselves Z, XE.
It's gross.
There's Halliburton. They're like a engineering type of.
I'm going to have no mercy for some of these dudes.
It's a full money making cycle. It's we overthrow our government, or we use rebels to overthrow our government.
Sure.
They use drugs to fund themselves. We take the drugs, bring them into America, throw them into our inner cities. Like, oh well, guys got to protect territories if they're going to be selling drugs. We ship guns in. We leave them on train tracks randomly. Like, oh, no kids will find these. We'll just leave these AK-47s just hanging out
Afraid
here.
to fucking semi-automatic rifles and shit.
A
On top of
fucking
that, you're telling me you're not going to affect them economically, where they're going to feel desperate enough. Understand, I'd say mass majority of society's ignorant people. So when you fucking affect them economically, they're going to feel desperate. What do you fucking they're going to do? We just sell some dime bags or go get a job where I'm probably not going to make enough money to support my family. Like, go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
Scumbag.
Who was that rapper from Chicago who said, "Oh, we could just jump the fence, go into the train station, and grab these military-grade weaponry," and they wonder why it's a cycle of things happening. It's insane. I think we went way off track though. Back to Michael Cohen. This very important story of Trump's a random pair of panties in Trump's drawer.
No, we can walk talk. It's like, hey guys, they're talking about this rather than all these things that have been happening over for the past 80 years.
Yeah. Let's see if they bring up some of the other things that were brought up in the Michael Cohen case.
Right in the White House.
Carol, how significant is that? I mean, there is the DOJ memo that says you can't indict a sitting president. There's questions about whether that would hold in a court of law. But how significant is it for...
That shouldn't matter at all. If a guy's a criminal, he's a
criminal, and
yeah.
he should be indicted as a criminal regardless of status. But like, this is kind of something that the Department of Justice set up, that you can't indict a sitting president. So therefore, they're kind of entangled within their own rules. Because now they find themselves in a place where, okay, so we have this corrupt guy who's the president, but yet within all of the corruption that's blatantly in all of our faces, we can't really do anything about it because he is the president, which to me is absurd.
On that, making laws, like, oh, it's okay, it's legal. He's not a criminal. It's like, what?
And this is why, and this is something you'll hear from Jimmy Dore. That's why he's complaining when Obama signs a, $80 billion expansion of the military. Yeah. It's like, you don't know who's going to be the next president. It could be some fucking crazy guy.
Right.
Why are you making these laws that are going to help that crazy guy out?
Or it's something that
And it's playing out right here. Just like you
Right.
said, they made these rules for these guys that protect presidents. What happens if you have a crazy fucking president?
And then look where we are.
Yeah.
if not local, has been happening. So it's literally like, imagine a big, a box of Legos, and we just keep building shit, and then the next guy comes and does the same exact thing. So it's one of those.
No, even without that, if you had Jesus as president, it's like he makes all these wonderful laws. Let's say he well, protection doesn't sound that bad. Let's add a budget to the military. It's like, well, Jesus, you only have 8 years here. 8 years and you're done. You can't run anymore. So you don't know if fucking, I don't know, Judas is going to be the next president who's going to bomb shit.
We both know they'd kill him.
Yeah. Yeah, Jesus would probably get assassinated. Let's be honest here.
He'd be.
There's too much money at stake.
Oh, look. Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Like, he died for our sins. Like, he creeps.
All right, let's keep the tape rolling.
Man to implicate the President of the United States in committing a campaign finance crime while he was in the Oval Office.
Well, it's certainly something that is very unusual, right? I don't know that it's ever happened before. But on the other hand, the contours of high crimes and misdemeanors is, in the impeachment context, is very uncertain. And the DOJ memo to date has held. And Bob Mueller has sent signals that he intends to respect that. So it may be up to Congress at the end of the day to decide whether they think that this falls within the impeachment realm or whether the Southern District of New York is going to put together enough of a case that they think they need to go back to the Justice Department and say we need to revisit this policy.
Jeremy.
What was the idea you heard about the New York thing?
So the thing that I heard was that the Southern District of New York, even though the Department of Justice states that you can't indict a sitting president, based on the evidence that they find, if they find any evidence of obstruction, they want to bypass those laws and see if they can actually indict Donald Trump while he is a sitting president. But under the guidelines of the Department of Justice, the rules are something along the lines of the reason you can't do it is because it would impede on his ability to do his job as president. But where I stand is kind of like, what job has he done as president, and would an indictment really impede on anything that he's done or plans on doing thus far? This is a man who when you look at his schedule, there's nothing planned on it. That came out last week in a leaked report of some sort, that when they looked at his schedule for the week, there was nothing on it. So what is there to impede on?
Nothing impressive.
It could be him creating like the whole wall thing and government shutdown. Maybe he's creating things. Who knows? The Venezuela coup.
Yeah.
That could be part of it too. I mean, I don't know.
The guy looks like he's producing massive amounts of fear porn. Fairly,
fear, dog whistling.
And that too, and it's essentially like this, right? It's like, oh, when did you do this? When did you decide to do this? Oh, towards the end. Oh, is that to set you up for your next campaign?
Yeah, the wall thing.
That's why it's fear porn.
It seems like, okay, the election's getting close.
Guys,
I need something that'll rile up my base. Oh, let's use the wall. Let's scare them with immigrants, like they're all criminals.
Guys, we're all gonna die if you don't vote for me.
Women being raped. And then he scares you with socialism to keep you away from Bernie Sanders. It's a sick, sad world.
Hey guys, how come all these? It's like people just take a step back and just look. Why are they all lawyers? Huh? It's like, well, he didn't do anything illegal. Did he do anything immoral? You fuck.
Yeah.
Anything immoral?
See, but you know what the thing is? I find that in the law world, morality kind of doesn't have a place with politics. Even though us as human beings, like the things that we do can at times be dictated by morality and how we do them, but morality often doesn't have a place in politics. Politics is more of a business than it is, you know, about who you are as an individual, which is why we kind of find ourselves with these people who we can't connect with, you know, because they're all in it for the political gains. Like, oh, this will further my political career when I want to be the next senator or the next congressman or woman. Whereas I
would agree, but there's a reason why they run on hope. Some of these dudes will run on the campaign.
Well, the image they put out there to the mass public is that it's a moral game.
Yeah.
But in reality, it's a business game behind closed doors.
Obama was like, he's gonna be a savior. It's like, nope.
Yeah.
Nope. No. We're gonna take no more war. Let's see.
Yeah, it's
You knew the Iraq War. Stay in Afghanistan.
Expanded to Syria, Libya.
Yemen, the other one.
Yemen, Somalia. He expanded the wars.
I believe there was some sort of statistic out there claiming how he at least 1 or 2 bombs were dropped every day during his presidency.
I believe there was a month where he ran out of bombs. He dropped so many of them.
wow.
I believe that was in Syria.
There's a before and after picture of Syria as a city. It's creepy. It's like apocalyptic video game
I'm sure.
versus
I'm sure.
This is downtown New York. Look at this.
Yeah.
Lights everywhere and shit.
If people have been paying attention to what's been going on, Syria has been devastated for the past couple of years now with just bombings, and like it's hard not to know about it, especially how it's been everywhere. Like I remember sometime maybe either 2 years ago, it might have been before Trump took office, where they were showing pictures of kids who were being pulled out of rubble from bombings, or these parents who were holding the corpses of their dead children, and it's just like how.
And they use that.
And yeah.
So, have you heard of the white helmets?
No.
So basically, these guys have been criticized because it's like a rescue team, like organization, and they're called the white helmets because literally white helmets.
They're self-made.
Yeah.
Like whenever a bombing happens, they run into like the fire, they run into the rubble, and they try to pull people out. That's the idea of them. But there has been images that surfaced of them.
Evidence.
First of all, them posing with Al-Qaeda and
Oh,
ISIS.
Wow. Okay.
Other.
There's a video of someone being executed by ISIS, and then immediately after he shot, the white helmets run in and take the body away.
They're posing.
So it's like you guys are waiting behind the camera,
Right.
and then
So it's almost as if like
It's like crisis acting.
right. Like, hey,
Possibly.
you guys will make this happen, but we'll run in and act like we're the relief, and we're gonna save everyone from.
Yeah.
and then when we get on camera, we'll say that it's the government doing the bad
Right.
things.
Sure.
So that
They also try to further their own government's agenda. Like, see, look, the white melts are here to help. Look what
Right.
they did. It's like,
Furthering their government agenda and their
like,
own
fuck.
reputation as. I guess the only way I could really describe it is like medical mercenaries.
yeah, those guys won an Oscar,
yeah.
and I believe their founder is on a terrorist watch list,
He's not allowed
so
to-
he
he's not allowed
couldn't
to
he
be
couldn't
here.
he
He
couldn't
wasn't
get
allowed
into
here.
America
He
to
wasn't
accept
allowed
the
here to
award.
that award. Yeah.
Wow.
Like, hey guys, anything suspect about this?
Yeah,
Your boy can't come over here because he's on the terrorist watch list and shit.
That's not damning at all.
No.
all right.
But porn star, that's the thing we gotta go after.
Oh yeah.
Let's hear more about this porn star.
She's probably making money.
Don't you
How
freeze
do you
on
think
him.
Michael Cohen's doing?
Book deal over this.
I think
whole
he's
thing.
coming off as
She
very
was-
credible, very remorseful, very pained, and obviously shaken by the turn of events. I mean, this is an astounding account, Katie, the ultimate insider man account. The guy, he was at the elbow of the head of the Trump organization, the presidential candidate, and then
For
Go
what?
back. I want to see what it said under there.
It's the same thing right there.
No. Just real quick. Former chief of staff. Okay. Incredible. That's incredible. Oh, he has a soul. Look at him.
Who, Jeremy Bash? He's been on every single program this channel has to offer as far as.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
former chief of staff at the CIA and the Department of Defense.
the guy, he was at the elbow of the head of the Trump organization, the presidential candidate, and then the president. And here he is essentially turning on his former boss and saying not only did he engage in substantial financial crimes, but he had a heads up from Roger Stone about the WikiLeaks email dump. He says he suspects that Don.
Now that's the thing that I can't buy into. I can understand him paying off porn stars and stuff. I can believe that as a story. But the whole Russia thing, I think they're trying to force that in here.
They've been trying to get that going for like how many years?
And there's just no steam with it.
No, there's no evidence to support it. To me, it's just as credible as the whole fucking Trump dossier thing. He hires hookers to fucking pee on a bed. And he goes in the bathroom and just screams, "I hate black people."
Roger Stone was not in contact with WikiLeaks. I
fucking doubt it.
He said he was in. He said his friend, who is Randy Credico. He said Randy Credico was in touch with WikiLeaks, and then he got his information from Randy Credico. It's like, nah. Randy Credico was like, no, sorry, no, that didn't happen. I I might have bullshitted him so that he'd go away. Like, yeah, they're doing this. Go away now.
Batting someone away, for the time being. Yeah.
I think Roger Stone is a lifetime troll, and
Oh yeah, for sure.
Oh, he's probably a.
he wanted his name on a big story, and he's like, oh, I'm in contact with WikiLeaks. It's like, have you seen how WikiLeaks moves? They don't move like that.
No.
They don't go to Why would they go to Roger Stone
Stone.
and be like, here's all the information, man. Here it is.
Back to your point though about him wanting his name out there, even post his arrest for everything that's gone on. If you've seen the behavior this guy has exhibited, like he's done multiple television interviews since he's been arrested for whatever they recently arrested him for.
For a lie, he lied under
Lying
oath or something.
to Congress or to somebody rather.
Yeah.
But they went and they got him, and this guy did press conference after press conference, did TV show after TV show, which basically kind of undermines the whole thing in itself, where like you're gonna be a witness for this investigation that's going on, and you're basically trying to persuade the public as to your idea, like, hey, public, watch this, which is in turn kind of showing Donald Trump as well, like, hey, listen, we got this, we're gonna do this, like, don't worry about it. But that kind of all blew up in his face when he posted some picture of the judge who was gonna be responsible for seeing him.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so he posted a picture of the judge who was gonna be the judge responsible for seeing his case, and he posted it on Instagram, and they had like a the bullseye, not the bullseye, but the marker when you're gonna shoot somebody from a sniper or something. Yeah. So then he took that picture down because it's the judge that he's gonna go see.
Yeah.
And then he just basically put a picture of the judge with some kind of caption, who knows what, like I don't remember.
This reminds me of when Cory Booker took a picture with the guy that's going to be interviewing him. The other day.
That was a guy asking questions at the Bernie Sanders town hall.
My fault. Yeah,
and he has a picture of those two guys together.
And the girl too.
The girl is working for some.
Well, I mean, tying it together, it's like
she was an intern at some.
Like, hey, Corey, was that smart?
Right, and which is basically like the overall assumption of what Roger Stone did. Like, was that really smart? Yeah. You're putting pictures of the judge that you're going to go see, who's going to be responsible for your case, in a kind of upsetting, derogatory manner.
Yeah, and
is that a smart thing to do? And then she basically put a gag order on him, and like, you can't speak about the case, you can't talk to anyone about the case, no social media outlets, and it's just kind of like, what did you expect was going to happen, Roger Stone?
Yeah, that's going to be illegal in any justice system. Look at that guy, Tommy Robinson. I don't know if you guys know him, out in London. He's like an anti-Muslim type dude. So he's outside the courthouse looking for Muslims, taking pictures like, this guy's a bad guy, he did this, he did that. Right. It's like, you could be influencing the jury when you do that. When you put it on social media, and these guys are like, oh, they're bad guys. I saw Tommy Robinson with them. It's like, that's unfair, I think.
Yeah. It makes me feel good that dumb people are in power. At least for this, they'll fuck up like this.
Yeah.
Which is why I call them clever. I don't call them smart.
I think clever is a better term to use.
These guys don't speak for the people at all.
No, absolutely not.
No. That's why I guarantee this guy has some sort of mansion, but inside the mansion is just a chair and he just sits in it. Doesn't eat. This guy doesn't eat food.
A chair in an empty room.
All right, let's continue.
Jr. informed his father about the Russia-Trump Tower meeting in June 2016. And on, there are a litany of other allegations, credible allegations that Michael Cohen...
Listen, guys, you're not going to get him on the Russia thing. If you're going to get him on the campaign finance laws. Get him on that.
I feel like, because I agree with you, the whole Russia thing has been going on for too long. If something comes out of that at this point, I'd be surprised. Like, I'd be absolutely surprised, because for an investigation to be going on for 2 years and there's no significant proof of collusion.
Yeah.
Because it's not, you can't call it collusion, because by their standards they're saying that collusion isn't a crime, so it's the conspiracy of collusion.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But if something comes out of that, like, I'd be surprised. But right now that would probably be their biggest, like, if you want to impeach Donald Trump, that would be where you go. You go for the campaign finance violations or obstruction. One of those two routes. The whole Russia collusion thing, I think that's something maybe people as a whole need to let go, because I think too many people are invested in that, and I think it's because of how it's been upplayed from the start of the investigation. Like everything was collusion, and everybody just kind of got like taken into this whole collusion theory.
I think it was a lot of Clinton voters that were pissed off.
Oh no, absolutely.
They're like, there's something's got to be wrong. There's no way he won. There's no way he won legitimately. So there had to be something.
There was the Russians interfered. It's like what? And they have to come up with a reason for it. And you find that reason is fucking less credible than most things.
And they tried to indict any Russian they could find, basically, for anything.
Like, whatever the situation might be, like
what's odd enough though is that there's people on Facebook that are doing something very similar to as far as to what the Russian hackers.
There's scam artists all over the place, like credit card scammers. There's guys like, they set up like a fake Facebook page and they want you to sign into it so that you end up. They hack into your accounts.
They hack the election. Oh, you see, Russian hackers, right? They went on Facebook and they put a bunch of memes and shit that influence people.
For both sides, for like all types of pop culture topics, they were making memes of.
It's like what?
So that people would follow them or retweet their thing or whatever, and then
like
they
could. That's it. It's like most people don't know that. It's like they think it's I'm gonna hack the election booth where your vote turns and no, it's Donald Trump now. It's like no, that's it.
No, that was Bush versus.
Gore.
Yeah, Bush Gore 2000. Mm-hmm. That was straight up cheating.
I remember that.
Straight up election fraud, and it just went by.
I was taught class.
More people were pissed.
There was a miscount, guys. Like 5.
Oh yeah,
we need a miscount.
How many Florida recounts did we have for that?
They just happened to exclude all the counties of black voters that would have voted for Al Gore. Mm-hmm. They're like, sorry, we recounted, but we missed yours.
We missed your votes. What a coincidence!
So Bush wins.
Yay! They're both demons, so. I mean,
all right, let's continue.
Cohen is levying against his former boss. And I think, of course, the Republicans are trying to rough him up. But at the end of the day, the documents, the credibility of the witness, and the facts will be what drives how the Democrats want to take the investigation from here.
It all comes down to credibility, Ari. And we've been having the discussion about credibility all morning. Clearly, the Republicans are trying to undercut Michael Cohen's credibility. But again, he came with documentation. And the things that he doesn't have documentation for, i.e., was there Russia collusion, he said, I don't have evidence of direct collusion between the Trump campaign or Donald Trump and Russia.
Duh. No one does. Because I don't think it happened.
I have my suspicions, and let me tell you what those are and why I have those. But he admits that he does not have that direct evidence.
I think that's a great point, and he is one of the only people in America right now who's about to go to prison in part for lying to Congress. So he knows better than almost anyone alive why he should not lie today, which goes to the structural pressure on him for his credibility. If I could...
I didn't take him as lying up there at all.
No,
I didn't think he was lying.
I didn't think he was lying at all. Like when I watched it, but it goes to the point that they're making. This is a man who's practically lost everything.
Yeah.
You know, so at that point, what more could he possibly lose except for more of his freedom if he did go up there and lie to Congress?
When I hear a guy get questioned, like let's say someone asks a simple question, he answers, and then the guy asks like basically the same question, just in an angry voice or something. And then he responds with more details in his answer. I'm like, I don't think he's bullshitting.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
I think he's being honest. It's just...
I think I know what point that you're making when he got into it. I think with one of the Republican senators who started yelling. Like, you can tell the dude was clearly angry with the response that he got from Michael Cohen. Because it seemed like, to me personally, it seems like, okay, so you have Democrats and Republicans who are up there, and you can tell who's who just by the line of questioning.
Yep.
Because clearly, like the Republican senators and congressmen were, to me, seemed like they were clearly grilling him to basically like intimidate him into basically subduing himself and just kind of like taking a step back by means of intimidation. But there was a point where he actually kind of got into a shouting match with one of the congressmen or senators or whatever, and it was just like, whoa, like this isn't the makings of a guy who's lying right now if he's going through this kind of like emotion to basically defend himself. You know what I mean? Like,
what do you call it? The hot seat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Republicans were trying to discredit him. Like not discredit his points, but discredit him as a person.
Yeah, discredit
like,
his
you're
credibility.
a fraud. You're a liar, aren't you?
Yeah.
You lied, didn't you?
And that was one of the multiple points that most of them made while they were questioning him. Like, oh, he is a serial liar. He's lied during this and he's lied during that. And it's just like, well, you do understand that this is a guy who's sitting before Congress right now who already knows what the consequences are for lying to Congress.
Yeah.
And you think he's going to sit up there and do that again?
Yeah.
He's already doing 3 years in jail. Like, he's been disbarred. He's no longer a lawyer. As of yesterday, he's no longer a lawyer. And so what more can he possibly lose? Losing time with his family, his freedom, his lawyer's license. This is a guy, once he gets out of jail, what is he going to do?
Write a book.
Write a book and
Right.
spend,
He'll make money that way.
You know, but I think that, just like how you said, he didn't come off as a guy who was lying. There was too much for him to lose at this point, or he's already lost enough and even more to lose if he lies to Congress a second time, because at that point, they're just going to put you away for
even longer.
Longer, you know?
Sad thing is probably with who was questioning him. Hey guys, do you actually care? Or you team playing? What's going on?
Yeah.
And he called somebody out for that. He did. He was just like, you know, you Republican senators and congressmen like have been covering up for Donald Trump ever since he took office. Like, shame on you guys. And I'm just like, all right, so this is where we are. All right, this is what's happening.
So the point is, I think he just went with the concrete things that he had documentation for. The other thing, like if he had actually had like evidence and information about the Russia shit, he would throw that out there.
He definitely
that would
would.
definitely lesser his prison sentence.
For sure.
100% would lower that. So I think he just went with straight up concrete things and trying to just be as honest as possible. I think it's my opinion.
It's like Henry Hill. You point to him.
Yeah, he's right there.
Where's Jimmy?
Let the court know he's pointing at Jimmy.
Jimmy's like, fuck.
Rolling Stones start playing. All right, let's continue.
Make one broader point, because here on your show is the first time I've been back on air all day since we've been watching the hearings. Just take a step back.
Yeah.
We just saw something totally extraordinary. And in these investigations that have been going on in Washington from Mueller and in New York with the SDNY, all the key insiders who've flipped, none of them have spoken under oath in public. None of them. Not Paul Manafort, not Rick Gates.
What do you think that's weird? You're speaking under oath. Private.
Yeah.
What?
Like that's.
You guys remember when fucking like that? You guys remember when Bush and Cheney's like, you guys are gonna testify under oath in private?
Yeah.
It's like what? Like, what the fuck? What?
Yeah.
No one's gonna see it.
Yeah.
What?
It's funny that you bring that up, because that was one of the points that one of the congressmen made during the hearing. Out of all of the people in Trump's inner circle who have been indicted, none of them have spoken under oath or before Congress. Michael Cohen is the only one who's basically spoken in front of Congress, and it's just like I feel like that's kind of more of a, like, you know, a tell for his credibility. It's just like he's the only guy out of, how many people is it? I'd say anywhere upwards from 10 to like what, 15 people, if not. No, the amount of people indicted might be anywhere from like what, 20 to 30 something people.
I'm not
some
sure
odd people.
exactly.
Like
If it is, it's like.
Yeah, I could be wrong with that number, but we'll say for the amount of people that it is who have been indicted and who have pled guilty, he's the only one who decided he's going to show up and actually give some kind of testimony under oath as to what's been going on. Like, he wouldn't lie about that, especially knowing what the consequences for lying to Congress a second time would be.
It's like, hey man, you're fucked. You want to be
Right.
more fucked?
Like, you're already fucked. Like, how much more fucked do you want to be at this point?
Yeah.
Hence, Jimmy, over there.
Let's continue.
Not Michael Flynn. Not the other side characters. George Papadopoulos has been out and about, but never under oath. This is literally today the first time we've heard a Mueller witness under oath speak for an extended period of time, addressed by members in both parties. And what he lays out is a damning series of allegations against the sitting president. Not all of them crimes, but many of them extraordinary in their own right.
Is this for his benefit, though, or is this at his peril? He's already pleaded guilty.
To be fair, when you tie it to the Mueller investigation, it's more about Russia collusion or whatever.
Right.
So I don't think he has anything on the other guys that'll even be close. Like, as far as like Cohen's crimes, right? lying to Congress. I don't think that had so much of a connection to. I think they just want names out there that they can say, put them on the stand, and then have them corroborate the whole Russia thing. And I think Cohen might have been the only guy willing to do that. That could be a possibility.
It's just odd how they'll fucking stick that to the day they die.
Yeah. Other guys might be looking for careers after
for sure.
Hey,
after their crime stuff.
A book can change your life.
A book deal can change everything.
And your bank account. Roger Stone.
So,
It's like Roger Stone. It's called If I Did It. Steroids.
So Cohen, they might have had enough on Cohen to where it's like, we can ruin you even more, as opposed to these other guys that you can't really, narrow down their crime to where you can tie it to Russia, as much as maybe Cohen. I don't know.
The one thing
I'm
I will
ignorant,
say
I don't
though,
know.
like he did a fair amount of name dropping in that hearing, where he basically named a few people, like where they asked, all right, so for this piece of information, if we wanted to know, who would we go to? He's like, oh, you go to this guy, and this guy. He's like, oh, and what about this for this? And he's like, oh, you talk to this guy, this. And that just kind of struck me as kind of like, oh,
Yeah.
all right. Like, you are not playing any games with none of this right now. You are going to sing like a bird. Like, I come from a place where it's just like, no snitching, straight up. Like, we're going to call it for what it is. But, given the circumstances, you have to wonder if, I guess, your life is essentially in danger, or your freedom is the cost of it. Is no snitching really, like, something that should be relevant in, I'm just like, wow, this guy gave up so many names, like, in full detail. Like, you go after this guy, you go for this guy, and it's just like,
we bring it back to the days where he was ever questioned or interviewed. It's like, oh, you sound like a lawyer. Here, you sound like you know your law.
right.
Like, well, I think did the United States government do anything that was considered immoral? I think we have to look at what's happening really. Versus, yes, they did. They did this and this.
It kind of shows like a stark contrast between like the situations. Like, we have Michael Cohen 2 years ago in the beginning of the Trump presidency. Like, oh, that's my guy. I will take a bullet for him, this, that, and the third. And then we have Michael Cohen today sitting in front of Congress talking about, oh, Trump did this, and this. And you can go talk to this guy, and that guy. And his daughter was there, and his son was there. And they all know. And it's just like, wow.
It could have been like those other guys, just they weren't going to be willing to talk because
absolutely not.
Because as far as like in Michael Cohen's case, it's like the inner circle and the world you were walking in before all this happened. Like, you're not going to be a part of that ever again.
Like,
those guys won't trust you, and you'll probably want to stay out of trouble too. But those guys will definitely like keep you away from them. As far as like Manafort and guys like that, they'll be allowed back in, I think.
Well, it all depends, because Manafort is in kind of like a whole lot of trouble himself, and it all depends. Like, he might be sitting on a sentence that might ride out till the rest of his life.
But his thing, it looks more like a crime that's about him and what he's like, the fraud and things like that.
Absolutely. Like, the Manafort thing is more centered around his own dealings and what he did. Like, they have some ties to him and the campaign and all that stuff, which you're going to hear about. But more of his crimes are centered like around him. So Paul Manafort, like, he seems in a more fucked position than Michael Cohen. Like I said, you're already an old man, and then to be facing 25 already is like, dude, you're practically gonna die in prison.
It's like you're
But
69.
his friend is the president who can pardon people.
Well, right now, what I've been hearing, or from, I don't know how accurate this is, but they're basically trying to. So Robert Mueller is basically trying to speed up his sentencing to basically get him in a place where he can't be pardoned by the president. So he might be able to be pardoned for a certain thing, but one or two of the charges that he's basically being indicted for, he can't be pardoned for it. So they're basically trying to stick him in a pardon-proof situation where it's just like, even if he wanted to, he won't be able to pardon you.
Yeah, that is calculated.
So Robert Mueller knows what he's doing when it comes to Paul Manafort. He's like, oh, no, I want you. I'm going to have you.
Like, even I'm just saying, for Manafort, even like Wikipedia understands how he's a American lobbyist, political consultant, and a convicted felon. Like, you can trust him.
Like, we got you, Paul Manafort.
All right, let's finish this video up.
Way to go.
to lying to Congress. If he lies to Congress again, I imagine that would get him in a lot more hot water.
Look, I often quote rappers from Brooklyn. I will quote the wisdom of the Italians, qui bono. Who benefits? I think you're asking the right question.
Yeah.
Does he stand to benefit? It is possible in the long run, under the rules, that he might later get some reward from other prosecutors. But everything about today's testimony requires his truth at great personal risk, which is why when he says these things, I think any fact finder who doesn't have skin in the game is going to find them interesting. The partisanship we saw on the committee was evident, and I think on both sides to some degree, who are looking for things. But again, to take a step back, this is a...
Real quick, blatantly evident. It
Oh
was
yeah,
like,
absolutely.
or they're doing it in an order like Republican, Democrat, Republican, Democrat. It was just like, wow. First you had the first guy talk, the black dude, I don't know his name.
Oh,
He was going, and he's like,
the chairman,
yeah,
Elijah Cummings. I think.
yeah. And he's, nice and calm, calculated, talking normally. And then the other guy, Jim Jordan, I think his name is.
Yeah.
He was going like ape shit.
Yeah, he really
And it
was.
just played out that way the rest of the time.
And that's
basically.
that's exactly how it played out. It seemed like like an all out shit show brawl in the freaking in the hearing, and it's just like
It's like good cop, bad cop.
right.
Like, one guy's
Yeah.
like, listen. That guy's like, let's hear your time's up. It's like,
Yeah.
what the fuck did you do?
No, but you can clearly tell there was some kind of partisanship because, like, on the Republican
100%.
side,
Yeah,
it seems like, the Republicans are basically trying to obfuscate Donald Trump within a shroud of mystery, and it's just like, oh, well, do you have evidence for this to corroborate what you're saying? But then on the Democrat side, they're asking, like, what seems to me like concrete questions pertaining to the actuality of what's going on. Like, so did he do this, this, and this? They're looking for a reason to impeach him. Like, essentially, that's what they're trying to get out of Michael Cohen in this hearing. Like, we need something to impeach him. We need you to put something out there that we can use to impeach him. And then the Republicans are just like, we know you want to impeach him, but we're going to make it difficult for you to get anything out of this guy to impeach him.
So, like I said, just team playing.
No, absolutely. That's exactly what it
Who
was.
has a moral obligation to be here? It's like, no hands are raised.
But the question I have to ask, like, and I want both of your takes on this, is just like, so yeah, we see that there's a sense of partisanship within all of this, but at the end of the day, do you feel like if the Democrats are basically looking for something to impeach, are they doing it on behalf of the people, or is this more of a personal vendetta that they just have with Donald Trump?
You can go first.
I was going. Like I said, team playing. Like I said, team playing, right? And they continue to keep doing this, even if it's pushing a fake allegations against the president. It doesn't matter what team they're on. You know what I mean?
Right.
So the people that are protecting him, the Republicans, whether it's a member of Congress or et cetera, you know what I'm saying? Like even a reporter, they'll do it. They'll fucking team play till the day they die.
Absolutely.
It's like, you can't trust this fucker. Like the guy Steven Crowder were telling you about. Like that guy, if he was a Democrat, he'd be saying, fuck Trump,
Oh, for
fuck
sure.
the wall. But he plays for the Republican team. You know what I'm saying?
So he's like, Trump, 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 wall, wall, wall.
Yeah. And the thing is about these guys, you have to question the morality too, because the points they bring up have major holes in them. You know what I'm saying? When he brings up for the wall, he doesn't tell you why the fuck immigrants are coming here. Like, what's happened to their country?
Right.
He knows that. He made defense for it. That's why he'll fucking move the goalpost, and he'll bring you back to the argument he originally made. The bullshit basis, I would say. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like that.
Yeah, I think it's tribalism.
That's a better word. Yeah.
Scoring points with their team, with their bases, trying to keep this narrative relative and keep it in the news, in the headlines and all that by going on about the Russia
Relevant?
stuff. Yeah, keep it relevant.
All right.
Keep it as a topic of discussion for future campaigns for the Democratic Party. Because now they can go up on a stand, on a podium, and talk about the Russians did this, and then as soon as they bring up Russians, it ties back to the Republican Party.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like, first of all, your head guy's Trump, he's the president, but also you guys are on, in this Michael Cohen case, you're out here defending him. You're
Right.
defending Trump openly.
It's just like what happened with the DNC. So people could use that against the party too. It's like, hey guys, we already know this is corrupt over here, so why should we trust you?
It's like political party sabotage.
Yeah, but the truth is, like, no one really. These guys don't really have a moral obligation. The guys I feel like that did or do, like someone that I might believe in, as far as you're okay. out of like the selection I have right here, which is probably Ron Paul. Bernie, a little bit too lenient as far as what I've heard him say.
Some of his
saying?
policies, yeah.
Like Assad must go. What the fuck did you just say?
And that's what makes me think is that it's a scoring points in this tribalistic way, because they got Bernie Sanders to say it.
Yeah.
Now, if you looked at Bernie Sanders' record, it's like this isn't your area, man. You're basically an independent who just named himself a Democrat. You're really an independent, though. Why are you going into this area?
Even went with the Russia shit.
That's what I'm talking about.
Like,
that's why he said the Russia shit, because he's like have to be on his team in order to win the primary, in order to win the presidency.
Because that's essentially like, I feel like, to your point, Democrats are trying to set up their future nominees for a presidential run. So it's kind of like, whatever we're going to do, whatever we have to do to make this narrative stretch on, so that way the person who does end up running for president can pick this same narrative up and be like, hey, remember when there was this guy who was in office and then he did this whole thing with Russia? Like, and
also like, let's say Bernie's on the stage during the primary debates and they're like, and he did talk about Russia. Let's say he didn't do that. They'd be like, why didn't you talk about Russia? Are you one of them? Are you working for Russia? Are you in Putin's back pocket?
You can tell it's one of those things where he's going to talk about it even before he's asked.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
The younger guy.
I'm gonna say something about it.
Yeah, the younger ones, I don't think they're really talking about that. I think I heard a clip of Ocasio-Cortez talking, or during the hearing with Cohen, and I don't think she brought up anything like that with Russia.
No, she didn't actually.
She was more about the campaign finance laws.
Finance laws and his taxes.
Yes.
And she basically asked him legal questions, like basically picking his brain as a lawyer to basically put it out there as a factual thing. Like, okay, well, you as a lawyer know laws, and so when somebody does this, this, and this, would you say that it's illegal? And the thing is, she kind of set Cohen up to kind of be like, all right, yeah. It doesn't make a good case for the president when he's sitting here talking about, oh yeah, that's what he did. Oh shit, yeah, that is illegal.
I'm gonna check all that out later. He's probably like, fuck you.
He's like, oh yeah, he did do that too. Oh shit, yeah, that is illegal. And
so
it's like, whoa.
So I'm thinking the young guys aren't going to jump onto that narrative. I think the things that got them elected are more of the progressive ideas. Like they had the Green New Deal, and we didn't want Ilhan Omar to take back the AIPAC comment, but she sort of did.
Yeah, that goes back to
But I think that represents more of the youth and the people in this country.
Sure.
No, for sure.
Rather than the 60-plus-year-old people who are still Republican.
It's like, hey,
Republican.
Guys, you're gonna die in the next 10 years. I guarantee it. What was it all for?
They're holding on to those old ideas, and they're the ones that really might grab hold of the whole Russia thing.
It's got like,
as far as older voters go.
Because it kind of like resonates with that patriotism that they had from back then thing.
Well, they went through all the Cold War shit and all that. They were alive during that.
It's like, hey guys, it's not hard to understand that a lot of that was fear porn if you actually go look back into it.
Right.
It's like,
all right, so last 40 seconds. Let's play this.
Mueller witness, who Mueller said in court they found credible on the key points that he testified to, speaking in public and describing a president who basically ran on a lark, used his company for personal enrichment and to deal with dirty deeds, struck unholy alliances with the Inquirer company to bury other stories, lied to the public, lied to other people, allegedly lied to his family. Now, they're allegations, but this is extraordinary. And if you want context, what if this had happened in the middle of the Bush administration or the Obama administration or the Harding administration? America would have a full meltdown.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from...
Whoa.
I'll remember this guy. Why don't you be on my team? But it's not like you don't team play.
Now, if you ask me honestly, I think the same thing would have happened if it was Obama or if it was Bush.
For sure.
I think you're a fucking president. I think you can get away with some shit that normal people can't.
If Bush got away with all that crap, that just opened my eyes as far as the true you guys can literally jump through hula hoops. You'll be fine.
Now, what I hope Melber wasn't saying, I hope he wasn't saying that the whole. Not the Russia thing, but the whole narrative of all that shit is what got Trump elected. Right? Did he say something like that? Am I tripping?
I don't think so.
Yeah, he said he brought up the whole. he paid the National Enquirer to bury stories, and then that helped Trump get elected. Like, I think this storm was coming regardless. If you ask me, the whole Trump thing.
Oh, as soon as I saw like that one of the like first rallies and shit, I'm like, fuck this dude.
I think it was a whole, anti-SJW thing, or,
A pseudo against establishment.
Against Hillary Clinton.
Thing.
The swamp, people
draining the swamp and all that stuff.
People really thought he was gonna get into office and clean out corruption.
And then when he hired someone from Goldman Sachs, there was definitely
multiple people.
My bad.
That should ring alarm bells right there for real.
Not only that, when he does that, and then he does the Dakota Access Pipeline.
Right.
It's like, get rid of that swamp by putting oil in it.
Right.
There you go. We're gonna get rid of the swamp by
his voters didn't care about that anyway.
No.
His voters did not
I've
care
heard
about that.
it was like a selective group of people like, what?
They cared about Clinton's emails. They cared about World War III in their mind. Hillary Clinton would have started
those missiles that were fired.
Syria.
Yeah.
Well, that's after he got in already.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
I mean, during the run up for the election and all that
I
shit.
got you. Well, he ran on again. It's like, I'm gonna clean the corruption.
Yeah, and then how ironic is it that he's the most corrupt?
It was WikiLeaks. WikiLeaks basically won him that election, or at least it put him over the top.
Oh no, yeah, for sure.
This other candidate is like the corruption. It's obvious. It's so damning, the evidence that she's so corrupt. It's like, well, this guy, he's an unknown, but he's also a billionaire that's in New York. So I guess it's not too hard to imagine that you are involved with some shit.
But they figured him out as like the rebel billionaire. That's how they were looking at Trump.
Yeah.
The self-made man. They were looking at that image and ran with that.
How come, it's just funny. It's like, hey guys, there's pictures of him and the Clintons and other politicians.
Oh, he paid them to go to his wedding. I think,
it's
or something
funny,
like that.
It's funny that you say that because like a lot of people have called Trump out for his flip-flopping, and one of the things that I heard, they was like, listen, like, dude, before you were president, a Republican president, you were a Democrat. Basically, helping Democratic nominees like Bill Clinton when he was running for office and supporting him with your own finances. So it's just kind of like, look how far you've come.
Which is why whenever I hear him talk about like Christianity, whatever the fuck, it's like you're faking this, aren't you?
Like, dude, really?
It's all part of it. To play for this team, to bat for this team, I got to do this.
It's like, how much of a Christian are you really?
Oh, you said about a lot of these guys.
Yeah. It's like, guys, we have to stop them from doing evil by killing them. It's like, you got it.
Like, God is my. I was like, this is the first time you've mentioned God in any speech. You didn't even thank God for winning you the presidency, and all of a sudden God is relevant. Whoa.
Guys, what would Jesus do? He'd build that wall. Build that wall. Build that wall.
People in that crowd like,
we're gonna build a wall. Yeah.
It's literally pro wrestling. That's what it is.
Let's do it.
Honestly,
All right.
Throw the chair.
Good. You guys done? What?
What you just say? What?
I thought I was gonna close the show out.
Close the show. What?
Close the show out.
Shut the fuck up.
What?
Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. All right, guys. That is it from us. Please subscribe if you like. Comment as always. We like debates. Anything you got to say it. We will not block you. We will not ignore your comment. We will respond. Whether you agree with us or not, we will respond.
Unless you're an outright troll, then it's like...
Yeah. Don't forget to click the link in the description box for Devon Journey to Recovery website at the intro to this video and our past videos. Please consider donating. Help one of our subscribers out. His wife had some medical issues, and for some reason, we don't have free healthcare in America. So please consider making a donation. At the very least, click on the link. And with that said, give this video a thumbs down.
Say you wanna get in.